makeup friends, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and today I'm going to be doing an update on my project pan. We are at the end of February, and at the end of every month, I'm always just amazed at the passage of time, and yet this year in particular, as each month of winter has, come and gone, I'm just that much happier because I haven't been sucked down into the depths of seasonal depression this year, and that is a huge thing. I know I've mentioned it in previous videos. It bears repeating. I'm just so damned grateful not to be where I was this time last year. We'll leave it at that. Okay, we do have quite a few items to go through. Before we get into them, I'm just going to walk you through really quickly what I've got going on here. It's not a lot, but I'm kind of liking the glitter wing, if I'm being perfectly honest. On my lips, I actually have two different lipsticks right now. I actually just filmed a short. I'm trying to dip my toe into the short world, if only because YouTube effing loves them. I posted one recently, just like an old clip on my phone of my son singing along to one of his toys.
Red, orange, yellow, pink, blue, dark blue, purple, pink.
Didn't hashtag anything, had nothing to do with makeup. I put it up more as an experiment than anything else. I just wanted to see what kind of analytics it would generate. And that thing has had almost 3,000 views on it. So YouTube is seriously pushing that out, not so much with the long form content. Trying to find a balance here because to me, product reviews in short form style just isn't super helpful. So anyways, there will be a short talking about these two lipsticks, and then I was just too lazy to change them, and frankly, they look identical, so we're rolling with it. And then on my eyes, I have some of the matte shades here from the Quickie palette from Artist Couture. And then I went in, created my wings with the what is this called? It used to be the Pretty Easy. Now it's the High Impact Easy Liquid Liner from Clinique. Criminally underrated in my opinion. This one's in the shade Black. Then I went in with the NYX Glitter Glue. And then the sparkle that you're seeing on these wings is from Larina Cosmetics, and this is in the shade Crystal. It's just a loose, really fine glitter. So that's what we've got going on. I guess I could have told you what the good lipsticks were that I'm wearing. One is from NARS in Light My Fire. The other one is a Sephora lip cream in Chili Pepper number 78. Now that we have flown through that, let's get into these products. And I want to start off on the high note, which is an empty, and that is the lip jelly from Tower 28 in the shade Cashew. As you can see, I have gone ahead and scraped as much of this out of the tube that I can, and I am calling it done. I don't think I'm going to be repurchasing this, at least not anytime soon. It's not bad. I don't dislike it. I've enjoyed using it. I'm glad that I used it up completely, but I think there are better, more long-wearing lip glosses on the market, and that's essentially what this boils down to. They call it a lip jelly. By any other name, it's a lip gloss. It just isn't very long-wearing. It is very comfortable. It does add a nice shine, and it has a sheer finish to it, so it's not super impactful on the lips, which, depending on the eye look that you're going for, might be what you're looking for. I've enjoyed it. I don't feel the need to repurchase it. We'll leave it at that. Let's get into some of the items that you can see some visible progress on. So first up here, we have the moisturizing primer from Good Molecules. It's silicone free. And there is the progress. I, for the life of me, cannot explain how I used so little in January and so much in February, especially when I was gone for a few days at Great Wolf Lodge, didn't apply any makeup while I was away, and it's a shorter month. Completely mystified as to how that happened, but nonetheless, here we are. So I have talked about this one in previous update videos. I really enjoy it for what it is. It's more like a moisturizer than any sort of gripping primer or blurring primer, anything of that sort, if that's what you're looking for. There are definitely other items on the market, but this one, if you just need a little bit of extra hydration, I find that this gets the job done, and it does provide a nice clear canvas for applying my foundation on top. Now showing steady progress is this, I always want to call it the skinless foundation. That's just a horrifying thought. The seamless foundation, much better, from Lisa Eldridge. I have mine in the shade 6, and you can see steady progress, as I said. So this is one that I am not trying to get through quickly. I am giving myself the full year. I mean, it is a year-long project pan, so technically I could be giving all of them a full year, but especially with foundations, like I have a whole drawer of them and I like to rotate through them. So what has been happening in this past month is that I seem to be like using this for 1 week, and then the next week I kind of rotate through my other foundations, and then I come back and give it some dedicated use, and then I rotate through. And that's working for me, so I'm just going to continue doing that. If I decide at some point that I'm going to use this one day and then something new the next and just alternate that way, I'm okay with that. As long as we're seeing steady progress on it, I'm not concerned. The goal with this ultimately is to finish it, mainly because I want to get my money's worth out of it. This baby cost me over $130 Canadian when exchange rate, shipping, and duties was taken into account, and I am not letting that go to waste. In my last update video, I had said that my highlighter that I'm trying to pan, I think I'm going to have at least another 2 months out of. We've obviously just completed another month. And I'm going to hold through with that prediction. I think another month, maybe a little bit more, to get through Flexitarian from ColourPop. Suffice it to say, we are down to the nitty gritty on this. I am finding it's getting a little bit difficult all pressed along that edge to get my brush in there, and it is becoming a bit crumbly. So I might try to just dig it out and just repress it into the center of the pan just for ease of application. I'm a little worried it's all going to like crumble apart and fall apart, but if it does, honestly, I've got my money's use out of this. I have used virtually all of it. So if it just disintegrates during that process, I'm kind of okay with that. Next up, we have 2 powders, and it's kind of hard to get excited about powders, to be honest, at least as far as I'm concerned. As well, tracking their progress is a little bit challenging, particularly with the one that I'm using all over my face. It's housed in an e.l.f. container. It's actually the RCMA No Color powder, and there's still a ton of it left. It's gonna last me all year, I predict. I might not even finish it by the end of the year, to be honest. I think there's just so much and I use so little that I'm glad that I put it in here, if only to just sort of continuously drill down on it, but it's not a product that really excites me. It's purely utilitarian, so I'm not actually bored of it because a powder is a powder is a powder, at least as far as I'm concerned. Once I apply it, you can't see it anyways, so it doesn't really matter to me which one I'm using. I like this one. It doesn't leave a weird cast on my face. It does the job. It's functional. That's what I need it to be, so I'm happy with it. The other powder that I have in my project is specifically for my under eyes. This is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder for under eyes. And again, the product's not necessarily going to line up with the lines that I've drawn on here. Just take my word for it. I have a little mark. Yeah, so it goes this way, sorry. I have a little mark for where the bottom is, and then I spend far more time than it's worth tapping it around and trying to get that line of powder as straight across as possible. It's not a perfect science, but it's as close as I can get. And you can see, once again, steady progress. So no complaints there. Again, not something I can get super excited about. It does the job. It doesn't make my under eyes look cakey. It sets my concealer into place. I really like the product, and I'm using it. So mission accomplished, I guess. All right, moving on to bronzer, we have the Chanel Tan de Soleil. Is that what it's called? Soleil Tan de Chanel. I believe it goes by something beige now. Every time I talk about this product, I forget what the new name of it is, and then immediately after I stop filming, I'm like, oh, there it is. Something beige, I can't remember. So here is what it's looking like now, and I still am not getting bored with this. Again, bronzer is bronzer. I don't get like super excited about bronzers. This one's functional. I love the way it smells. I love the way it smells. It's a little bit florally. It really just, the best descriptor I can come up with is that it smells like high-end like skincare, if that makes sense. It adds to the experience. I have no issues with blending this out. I'm wearing it today. I like the tone of it. And again, it was an expensive little baby. I did buy it with Shoppers Drug Mart points, so I didn't like pay cash out of hand, but I have to pay to buy stuff to get the points. So it arguably cost me a hell of a lot more than it would if I had just put the money towards it, But regardless, I want to get the use out of it. It is ancient. I've had it for years. And the fact that it's still applying really nicely and hasn't got all like dried out and caked up speaks to the like quality of the product. And I'm very, very grateful that I'm still able to use it this number of years after the fact. Okay, what else have we got here? Okay. So the other one that I just like cannot track the progress on is Daisy from Marc Jacobs. There might be like 2 applications left in there. There's hardly any, and I'm finding even now when I'm trying to like spritz it onto my arm, it's just like, it's like a hamster blowing through a straw. Like it just has no power behind it. Somebody had suggested that I try shining a light, but it's so opaque that I can see just like the square of my flashlight on my phone. And I can sort of like drag that down to see where that becomes like covered up and I can't see it anymore. But it's not an exact science. This is just too opaque of a bottle. We'll have a little ASMR moment and see if you can hear what I hear. Very, very little in there. And I'm quite excited about that because I do have quite a few different fragrances, as you can see in the background. Some of them I love, and I do really, really enjoy Daisy, but I've kind of like moved past it. It's not my favorite anymore. There was a time where I rocked the hell out of it and loved it, but there's others that I love more. In specific, can you see right beside Penelope the Pineapple, this little blue one here? Oh, that one's so good. This one is from Versace. It is Dylan Turquoise. I don't even know how to describe this. It's sweet without being cloying. There's something like, I hate saying that it's sexy somehow, but it is. Like, it's just such a well balanced, like there's a hint of citrus in there without it being too sharp of a scent. It's not too sweet where you're thinking like candy inspired. Like it's just a perfectly balanced fragrance, and I'm very, very excited to go back to that one once Daisy is done. There's honestly not all that much left in here, so I'm saving up my shopper's points to buy a full size of that. And I also have my Dossier replica of Happy from Clinique, which I also love. So then that brings us to Frog from ColourPop. This is one of their Super Shock Shadows. I did get a little tiny bit of use out of it. However, I have decided that I am going to just declutter this one. It is so dried out. It is clearly past its prime. I have not been reaching for it, and even when I'm telling myself you should use it because it's in your project, I'm instantly like, but I don't want to. So that tells me that the love is over. It's gone. It's time to release it into the wilds, and I'm okay with that. So then with finishing an item and exiting one out of the project, I got to thinking like, what do I want to bring in? And there's a lot of items that are kind of getting down to the nitty gritty. There's a lot of items that I do want to give some dedicated love to, but some of them are in categories that I don't want to include into a project pan. I have other foundations. I already have one in the project. I don't want to throw another one in. I don't want to put a full-sized concealer in here because they take forever and I really like to rotate through my concealers. I don't like panning eye pencils and lip pencils. I did that last year. Don't want to do it this year. So I was really kind of scratching my head about it, and then I thought, you know what? I have far more eye primers than I need. So let's put one of them in here and just get through it. So this one is from Lorac. It's the Behind the Scenes Eye Primer. It's going to be hard to see the progress on here because it's a black mark on a black tube, but hopefully you can see right there. I did sort of squeeze it all down. So there's honestly not that much. Granted, I use a tiny amount each time I do use this, but if I'm consistent with it, I have no doubt we will get through this in a few months' time is my guess. So going to add that one formally into the project, but I also had some other sort of honorable mention items. So while these aren't necessarily going to be long-term project pan items, and in fact, some of them, I think I'm going to be able to finish them probably within like a week or two, I wanted to throw them in here anyways because kind of my focus this year has really just been using what I have, and these products kind of show the results of that. So up first here we have from Gerard Cosmetics, the Slay All Day Setting Spray in Rose. I'm not even going to track the progress because by the time I do another one of these videos, I know that this is going to be empty. So it's been kicking around in my drawer. I figure may as well bring this one out, dedicate myself to it, and then move it along. As well, I've got a deluxe size mascara sample here from Huda. This is the Legit Lashes. Now it's double-ended. I haven't actually read about the product, which, sorry, I should, but it's double-ended. So on the one end, you have more of a traditional type wand. These are rubberized bristles, so they're not like the hairy bristles. What are the normal bristles made of? I don't know. Let me know down below. And then on the other side, you have this curved one here. So I haven't read up on the product, so I'm not sure if you're like supposed to do one and then do the other for additional effect. I don't F with stuff like that. Like I can't be bothered to do like one specific for this and then the other side does this, and just make a product that does it all. That's all I'm asking for. But I use one end or the other, and they're both beautiful. So I don't really know why it needed to be double-ended unless they're just giving you two different wand options, but I don't find I need to layer these at all. This mascara is beautiful, and I have a whole drawer of unopened new mascaras, including my two beloved Upswing mascaras from Bite Beauty that I purchased after we got the news that they were shutting their doors. So rather than have a bunch of different mascaras open and on the go at one point, I'm just going to focus on this one. When it's done, and I'll move on to something else at that point. I have been using this one exclusively, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks at this point, so I've probably got another 3, maybe 4 weeks of life left in it altogether, so that ties us in until the end of next month when I do my next update. And then these are the two that I think are going to be done in no time. In specific, this one here from Hourglass. This is the Vanish Airbrush Concealer in the shade Cotton. And I had put a line on here, but like just ignore that entirely because I've used it a few times since then. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see right inside there. I can already see the very bottom of it. The sides are pretty much scraped. I've already taken the stopper out of it. So realistically, I think I've got maybe 4, maybe 5 applications out of this left. So rather than just have it sitting in my drawer and then every once in a while I get to it in the rotation, just drill down on it and finish it. So throwing it in the basket. And then we have a lip oil here from Ilia. This is in the shade Only You. This is one I will definitely be repurchasing the full size of. I really like this. I think it's really comfortable. It's a really pretty shade. Neutral, but with just enough pink to make it different from like the millions of neutral glosses that I have. So this one, again, have I taken the stopper out of it yet? Yes, I have taken the stopper out of it. I don't know if you'll be able to see into there. There's very little left in this. Again, I'm scraping along the sides, but I think there's a good, I'd say at least a solid 3 to 4 days of multiple applications throughout the day left in here, and then I will repurchase the full size. So that is where we're at with the project. Again, as always, if you're doing any sort of project pan or project 10 uses, or there's any myriad of options out there, let me know how you're doing. We can encourage each other, spur each other on, all of that good stuff. What items do you enjoy panning? What items do you not enjoy panning? Let me know your thoughts down below. But with that, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.